Thank you. Thank you very much. So let me say that I'm very happy to be here today to be discussing about industry, micro enterprises, and the link to agriculture. All of us know that this country, we have been punching below our weight. If you look at the infrastructure that we have built for industry, the efforts that we have made to integrate our industries into the regional market, and now talking about the African market, we have great potential. And as the chair has said, we have had a history with industrialization. At independence, we did not have much of what you will talk of a private sector. So what happened then was that government was investing in big industries, in sugar, in milk, in tea, in whatever area that we thought was useful. As I've indicated elsewhere, it is very clear that the model that we built for industrialization at independence, that put government at the center of manufacturing, clearly that role we played, but that we have moved on. And you can see already that a lot of the industries that were built by government have had challenges. The clear role for government in this space is to be a good referee, to listen to your ideas, because you are the people who are manufacturing. So our role, and we've been doing this with CAM, with our deep dives on different sectors, our role is to listen to you, and your role is to play fairly, also to look at the local market, to advise us which areas we need to improve, and also to look at the regional. As government, we are struggling very much. Potentially, we have 300 million people within the East African community. We want Kenyan industries to cross the borders into DRC. We want you to go to Burundi. We want you to sell in South Sudan. We want you, for lack of a better word, to stop being crybabies so that we can move. Because the world is moving, and we can't be complaining. We are here to listen. We will do what we can. I know that we have challenges within this space which we are addressing, but we also want you to run. We are now talking about the African continental trade. If you look at South Africa, between South Africa and Kenya, there is a lot of space in between there. Actually, if you look at our manufacturing from the southern side, we can only be beaten by South Africa because all the other countries here. So if you look at East and Central Africa and Southern Africa, we have a big role to play. And the role of government is to open up these spaces, and we have opened it up. We may have challenges within, but within the East African community, we have been the leading player, the leading manufacturer. We cannot relent on that issue. And as we move into the African space, you will see what the government is doing, is that we see a lot of people coming here, either from Europe, from America, from China, from India, that want to use Kenya as their launching pad into Africa. And as the people who are already established as manufacturers in this space, if we are going to be sitting and crying, we will be overtaken. I see a lot of pressure. So I think we need to be ahead of the game. Challenges notwithstanding, we must start to look at Africa as our market. And the people who are coming in now, the stampede that we are seeing, is because they are seeing Kenya as the launching pad into Africa. And you have a lot of experience manufacturing here. It's actually a lot easier for you to move into that space. And so we no longer want to sit on this potential. The other issue I want to mention is that one of the areas that we have not done very well is our linkages to raw material. We import nearly 80% of the things we use in Kenya. We make 20%. But even this 20%, the raw materials are still coming from outside. So we have not built a sustainable, fair, transparent relationship with our suppliers of raw materials. I come from Western Kenya, and let me use this as an example. The rain is here today. We have had a shortage of maize. The price of one bag has been going for 6,000. The farmers have felt the pain. You have felt the pain. So what are the farmers going to do? With this rain, they are going to grow more maize than previously. So because they have grown more maize than previously, we all want, I know that we are all human beings and we want to exploit this situation. So what happens now? Because we have overproduced, we, the people who buy from them, will collapse the price. So now you want, at the end of this season, to buy maize at 2,000. What does that do? The next year, the farmers won't produce for you. Then the price will go back to 4,000. So what we need is to put in place a system that benefits everyone. I know that it is within human nature to exploit some situation. The reason why we have a very unreliable supply of raw materials is because we, those of us who manufacture, have a little bit more power than what the farmers are doing. I'm happy that you are thinking about agriculture for industrialization. We need to put in place a robust mechanism that ensures, because if the farmer uses 5,000 shillings to produce a bag, or 3,000, but because they have overproduced, they sell for 2,000, it means that next year you don't have supplies. And then your price will go back to 6,000. So that system doesn't benefit any of us. So what I would like is, and I talked to Anthony yesterday, a few years back, I was one of those bold people that thought we can help farmers do a good job. So I started a process called cereal banking. And our idea of cereal banking, this was about 2000, was to put farmers together. And then they buy shares into a cereal bank, the way you do a bank. You buy shares within a bank with 2 bags of maize, 3 bags of maize, and we put all this into a store, and we took the standard that we needed for good maize. So we have qualities, we have quantity, and we talked to some of the millers. And our idea was to supply this maize. And we came and talked, and we even had contracts with millers to say, I'll buy your maize, this moisture content, this quality, at this price. So we put the maize in the train, we bring it to Nairobi, we take it to Kisumu, we go into Nairobi. I learned a lot. Because when we arrived in the industrial area here, 1 week after we had arrived with our 10 wagons of maize, the maize has not been offloaded. Kenya Railways is demanding demurrage. Why? And we had a contract, we had agreed to supply. Somebody came, took a sample of this maize, disappeared behind the corner. We had very clear labs in the field that had already measured the moisture. We know this is 13.5, this is 13%. This guy disappears behind the desk and he comes back and says, oh, you know, this maize is 17%. Oh my goodness. You see, you have already brought that maize from Bungoma, from Kitale. It's here in Nairobi. So we are being told, no, this is 17%. So the price we offered, we can't give you now. Oh, what is happening? Okay, we thought the trouble had ended. The next trouble we had was we had a very good platform weighing scales. We had made sure each bag was 91 kilos. This guy puts a bag on his weighing scale and says, oh, no. Your bag is only 84 kilos. And I'm like, sure? Is this the way we are going to work? So in the end, you are here, you are desperate, you have paid for transport, the person who is supposed to buy from you has disappeared, he has left you with a junior fellow that has no decision making. So to cut a long story short, we made a huge loss, and I was the one standing in for farmers. We realized we were dealing with very difficult people. So in the end, we ended up in court with some of them. Some of the maize was never paid for. Some of the maize that we had brought, they were telling us, you either take this price or take it back to Kitale. So what I'm trying to say is this. You may sound clever at that moment, but you are the same person buying the bag of maize at 6,000 today. So who is cleverer? Who is cleverer? So what I'm trying to say is this. These shortcuts may work for a season, for a minute, but it's not going to work forever. So what I told Anthony here is if you really want to talk about agriculture for industrialization, we need a very transparent system. I have enough experience. Let's work together. We put together a system that is not just beneficial for you, but beneficial for everyone. And not for a season, not for a year. Not for a year when you have a shortage. You know the problem? Sometimes we think about these things when you have a shortage. The moment you have a surplus, you run away. Then you'll come back 10 years later talking about these things. We must build each other. The supply chain, if we want the farmers to supply, they will supply you sunflower, they will supply you soybean. What I'm describing for maize, this sunflower that we are importing, this soybean that we are importing, we can produce it here if we can put together a transparent system that is beneficial, mutually beneficial for all of us, whether the production is high or low. The last issue that I want to say is that as a country, we are putting in place a lot of small things that we want to do. So most of you have heard about industrial parks. We know that not all of us can buy land and build a factory and start manufacturing. So the current, in the coming financial year 2023-2024, His Excellency the President has graciously accepted that we put in 4.7 billion shillings to establish county industrial parks. And basically what we are saying, we are partnering with the county governments. They provide the land. We build industrial sheds. And these sheds, if you work well, can become your centers of aggregation. If you're looking for soya in Uasin Gishu, you can have somebody there that has solar dryers, that can buy soya, that cannot exploit farmers, and then you can, because what we want you, the big manufacturers, you need to start growing the small people. Don't try and do everything, what the chair was saying. The problem that we have in this country is that we have big people trying to do small things. And that's why, instead of going into the East African community, instead of looking for market in Africa, you are looking for soybean in Busia. It is not going to work. Please empower other people to do the small things for you, so that the small micro enterprises can become your suppliers of what you need. Give them the quality. Give them the quality that you need, and then stand aside so that we can grow each other. There is no way we are going to grow an industrialization where you are the only person to be seen. You must grow other people. And so, as we talk about the industrial parks, this will be very interesting areas that you can invest. Alongside this, we are also putting together a small project called Viwanda Mashinani. So once we've built the industrial park, if you have a young person that wants to go into manufacturing and all they need is a machinery of 2 million, of 6 million, the government can give them a grant. If you want to make nails, you want to make barbed wire, you want to do solar, you want to do that, you can get a small grant, because we must get small people into manufacturing. What we have seen in this country is that when people have money, industrialization is the last place they want to go. So if you go into our villages, everybody's building a hotel. Everybody has a beautiful house, meaning that we have money that we can use for manufacturing. So as government, we are really looking at the environment for manufacturing, and want to bring small people, many small people, into manufacturing so that they can support the big boys to do their big things. And so if you work with us, this is the space that we want to go into, and I really appreciate the work that we are doing. We are looking at not just ease of doing business. We are actually working on something called ease of industrialization. We are looking at what are the barriers. If it's electricity, if it's infrastructure, if it's taxes, all these issues, we have committees that are already working on them. So I don't want you to continue crying. I want you to focus on the East African market. I want you to focus on the African market. Currently, we are negotiating with the EU. We had a whole Kenya-EU business forum, 400 investors. We just had the Americans here, about 1,000 of them. And we have negotiating the Kenya-UK agreements. All these things, we are opening space for you so that you can grow, so that you can sell your products beyond the borders. And I want to assure you that as government, we will do all we can. There's no country that has developed without industry. And what I have said is that if this country is not going to industrialize willingly, we are going to force it to industrialize. Tutatumia amri. Na amri inasema, we shall industrialize. Tumeelewana? So tutalazimisha. So we are not going to complain anymore. We are not going to pembeleza. We are going to industrialize. And I want the ministry and all the people that play this space to really take advantage of everybody, from His Excellency the President, my minister. You can see the Minister for Cooperatives. We are all aligned. We want to make a difference in the lives of our people because we know that as a country, we are punching below our weight. And we are not going to accept this going forward. So just know that if you have been running at 5 kilometers per hour, the speed is gathering. Please increase your speed so that we can all run together. Thank you very much for listening. With those remarks, I have to run to Parliament. It's now my pleasure and honor to invite the CS for Cooperatives, Honorable Simon Chalkui,